fucking vibe. You dig? Your Freedom podcast. I am definitely excited to have Josie here with me today. She is so dope. She's amazing. And one thing I do want to say, like I met you on like Instagram, I believe.
Yes.
You was just so supportive in everything that I was posting, and I just really I love that, and we need more of that. And it's just I think it's that statement of like strangers will support you quicker than family. And I felt that from you. You know what I mean? So I definitely appreciate you always just being supportive. What is one thing that you had to break free from mentally?
Right. So for me personally, I think I would say postpartum depression. Okay. I have 2 kids, beautiful, lovely kids. They keep me on my toes. Like, I'm working from home and I call them my coworkers, my needy coworkers. But when I had my son, which was my second pregnancy, the pregnancy itself was very challenging. Anything I ate would never sit right. I was always exhausted, moody, very different from my daughter's pregnancy. And then when I gave birth, that was challenging. They were having a hard time getting a heartbeat. So they would tell me, turn this way, turn that way. And meanwhile, I'm over here with these contractions, like, please just take him out. And at some point I was like, please, I want the epidural. I cannot stand this pain. And the nurse was like, we'll be right back. We'll get you comfortable. But then the doctors rushed in real quick and they were like, we can't put the epidural. We need you to start pushing. His heartbeat is dropping. We want to make sure that he's born healthy. And I just stood there like, what?
That's scary. That's scary.
You just want me to push and the pressure of like the doctors saying like, push, and the nurses. And I was just like, okay, let me just get this kid out. And when he was finally out, he was like a little bit blue, right? So I was like, okay, is he breathing? Why he's not crying? Somebody say something. But eventually he did cry, and then they had to rush him to make sure that he was okay. And then after I was discharged, he did have to stay in the hospital for additional 6 more days in the NICU, intensive care. And that right there, I think that was the hardest thing I had to do in my life. There were like all these emotions. Like I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I was very, very sad. I felt guilt. I was like, what did I do wrong? Maybe I shouldn't hate that food when I shouldn't have, like all these thoughts, like, and I was just so sad. And I wanted to breastfeed. Like I was like, this time around, I'm going to breastfeed. Nobody going to tell me no. And, and I think all that stress, feeling emotionally and mentally drained, that just, I couldn't breastfeed. Like I would pump and I would get like these little drops. And I would get even more frustrated because I'm like, I'm supposed to breastfeed him so he can come home quicker and he could get better.
Yeah.
But it was just like this cloud over my head. And then when he came home, I felt numb. I can say like numb, like I care for him, but then I just felt numb. Like I couldn't connect with him on a certain level. I don't know how to explain that feeling. It was like, I see you, but I feel like I failed you the minute you were born. So all of that was just, it was always in my head. And God forbid if I wanted to go do my hair, I felt so guilty about it. So with the support, obviously with the support of friends, family, my husband, speaking to my doctor. And I think that was one of the things I was like, I have to tell her, you go to your follow-up and they're like, how you doing? Everything is great. I love the baby.
Right.
Like, I look at me. But I just looked at her and I was like, I'm tired.
Yeah, that's real.
Like, I'm tired. I can't sleep. I don't want to do nothing. And she was like, okay, how long has this been going on? Do you need support? Do we need to refer you anywhere? And I said, I don't think I need to be referred, but like, is this normal? Like, will this go away?
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember her being very supportive, and she's like, let's check in a week. I want to see how you're doing. Talk to your support system. If you need anything, reach out. Don't hesitate. Don't question it. Just reach out. We just want to make sure that you're okay. So I have a close friend that she kind of went through the same experience, and I remember her telling me, like, look, you're gonna get past this. This is normal, as long as you address it. Because sometimes we like to ignore things.
Right.
Like,
That's
okay,
so
I'm
true.
good. It's only it's one bad day, right? But I'm super glad that she had that conversation with me, and she was like, if you need to leave the house, go for a walk, enjoy what you're doing, because if you stay here, you're not gonna get better.
Yeah, you're gonna keep thinking about it.
Right. And like, in addition to that, like, I have my daughter too, so I didn't want her to feel like I forgot about her.
Yeah.
And then my husband was like, you're not you, what's going on? And I told him, I don't know what's going on. Like, I was so confused. Like, I know what was happening. I do the work. I work with moms and stuff. It was just when you're in that space, you just feel like stuck.
Yeah.
Like,
and sometimes you may not know where it's coming from.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, wait, is it? And then you be like, dang, am I tripping? Like, or not? So, but I honestly commend you for even getting help. I feel like postpartum depression, like that part, especially in our community, it's not talked about a lot. Some people can end up hurting their kids by not going to get help, or it could just get worse.
Right.
So I love the fact that you were able to just acknowledge that, because that's something that's not easy to acknowledge.
Right.
My question to you, like, when did you first notice that when did you first feel like it was postpartum? Like, was it something that happened, or a moment that you had? He was like, wait, hold on, something is just not right. Like, I need to figure out what's going on. Like, what moment did that click for you?
So I know when I came home, I know it was normal for me to have these baby blues. Like, oh my God, I left my baby in the hospital. But I think maybe it was when I was breastfeeding him.
Okay.
We're home, I was breastfeeding him, and I just couldn't get him to latch on. Like, he was frustrated, I was frustrated. And then I kind of like just put him down, and I just sat there like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Why I don't feel like myself? And I think that's in the moment where I was probably like, all right, something's not right.
How did you know that you were done dealing with postpartum?
For me, I would say, like, you just start feeling good about yourself. Your body changes, and it takes a while for us to accept that. I went from a size 4, size 6 to a size 12, so I gained a lot of weight, and I had to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Your body changes, everything changes, the way you think, every choice that you make. So when I realized, like, I was actually getting out the house, I wasn't very hesitant about, like, I would get him dressed, I would get ready, we'd be out.
Okay. Yeah. So, let's go.
We're going for a walk.
Yes.
Park. And I think just going to the Dunkin' Donuts and getting a coffee and seeing people, and I was just like, okay, see, I could do this. It's not so hard. With Mommy's Break, and I tell moms, like, look, if you're not 100%, we're gonna get frustrated with the small things that our kids do.
So if someone didn't have a support system, or they didn't have, like, let's say if they stay in the hood, they really couldn't go for a walk or go in their community, like, what tips, I guess, would you give them, or ideas, I guess, for that? Just somebody who may be dealing with, postpartum, or they don't have a support, or they can't just do that. Like, what advice, or like what tips would you give them?
So I would say for them to explore and look for other things that they can connect with. So that could be praying in your own home, in your own space, maybe when your kid is sleeping, your baby, or even doing yoga, right? Doing some mindfulness check-in, just that space where you are alone. Your kids are there, but you're just alone. Also, reaching out. It's okay to say, I don't feel like myself.
Yep.
Reach out to your other networks. Sometimes it's not the immediate family or friends. It's definitely sometimes professionals that you go and be like, hey, I need help.
So what do you say, like, people who may be like in a toxic environment or have...
This is where you're kind of like, okay, let me step out of this environment real quick and see what's out there that's going to support me mentally and emotionally, that when I go back in there, I don't let that affect me. I just have to accept this is how they were raised. This is how they understand. Maybe there's a lack of education. Maybe there's lack of resources. Maybe I can bring, I don't know, some information and share it with them and let them know, like, I'm not making this up. This is coming from someone that is a professional. You going outside, getting that support, and then coming back to that same environment. But you have to be very, very strong. You know, like, this is where you have to train your mind to be like, people will talk. If you don't get help, they're going to talk.
That's so true.
We're never going to, please